Since I started the worst Pokemon series a few months ago, I've gotten many requests for various Pokemon to feature in this series. I've gotten requests for many different Pokemon that aren't fully evolved, which I'm not going to use for obvious reasons. They're not fully evolved, they're not really supposed to be used in battle, so there's really no reason to making a video on them. I've gotten requests to feature various good Pokemon like Zapdos and Umbreon, which don't really make sense to feature in a series about Pokemon that are legitimately bad. If you guys want to see a series where I talk about Pokemon that are good, leave a comment down below and let me know. I actually tried doing this a few weeks ago. I made one video on Serebii about how Serebii is a good Pokemon, and if you want to see more videos similar to this style but about good Pokemon, let me know in the comments down below because that'll be a separate series. I've even gotten some really weird and bizarre requests like make a video about how Serperior is one of the worst Pokemon but completely ignore the fact that it got Contrary, which doesn't really make a lot of sense. And then by far the most common request that I have seen is to make a video on the Pokemon known as Unown. If you guys are unfamiliar, in this series we take a look at some of the worst Pokemon in the game and discuss if they are completely useless or if they have some sort of viable use. Each Pokemon rated on a scale 1 to 5 based on their offense, defense, versatility, move pool, and overall viability. If a Pokemon doesn't excel in any of these categories, then it is deemed to be one of the worst Pokemon. If one of the Pokemon discussed in this series happens to be one of your favorite Pokemon, I do apologize, but just because a Pokemon is your favorite doesn't mean that it is safe from being in one of these videos. If you guys enjoy this and if you want to see more, make sure you subscribe and leave a like, and let me know in the comments down below what Pokemon you want to see featured in this series in the future. And also, don't forget to check out the full playlist link of this series in the description to see what Pokemon have been featured thus far. So to give a brief overview on Unown, and I mean like very brief, Unown is a psychic type Pokemon with the ability Levitate and has a stat line of 48 in HP, 72 in attack, 48 in defense, 72 in special attack, 48 in special defense, and 48 in speed. Now these stats are absolutely pitiful. You have a really low speed stat, you have really low defenses in HP, and you have pretty low offenses at only 72. And on top of that, Unown only has access to one single move, and that is Hidden Power. So at the very best, whatever Unown set you run, you will only have one move on this Pokemon that is a 60 base power special attacking move of whatever type you choose, which I guess is the silver lining. You pick any type, but at the same time, you literally just have one move. Pretty limiting. So taking a look at some of the positives of Unown, and there really are not that many, I'm kind of reaching for some of these, is Unown has Levitate, which is actually a pretty good ability. Being immune to ground, it's kind of nice, I guess. Levitate's one of the better abilities in the game in my opinion, so that's a plus, I guess. And now this one is kind of a reach. This positive is only a positive because Unown has access to one move, which is really bad. But since you only have access to one move, and there's no possible way for you to have more than one move on this Pokemon, there's no drawback if you Scarf it or give it a Choice Specs, which I guess is something nice. In reality, there's really no reason not to run Choice Specs on Unown because you just do Choice Specs Hidden Power Psychic for the most possible damage you can do, which still isn't that much. And for the last positive, there really are no good positives. The only real positive is Levitate. Having no drawback for being Scarfed or Specs really isn't that great of a positive because you only have one move anyway. So in total, there really are no positives for this Pokemon. And for the negatives, and boy, there really are a lot of these. Low speed, you're slow as hell. You're not outspeeding anything. You also have low bulk. You're not outspeeding anything. You're not taking any hits. What are you doing here? You have low offenses as well. You're not doing any damage. So you have low speed, low bulk, low offenses. There's nothing Unown does well. One of the biggest negatives that I've mentioned before, you only have access to one move, Hidden Power. That's it. No other moves. You can't have two Hidden Powers. It's not like you'd have Hidden Power Psychic and Hidden Power Fire. No, just one or the other. That's it. And for the last negative, Unown is outclassed by literally any other Pokemon with a stat move of 60 base power or more, which is literally every single Pokemon. And now for some improvements for Unown. Now the obvious would be give it more moves. It would be kind of neat if Unown had the unique ability to have multiple hidden powers at the same time. I'm not really sure how that would work, but it would make this thing slightly better having access to 4 60 base power special moves, I guess. But at the same time, even if that was the case, Unown would still be really bad. The thing with this Pokemon is I really can't think of any improvements that would make sense because Unown, you can't give it really any more attacks besides Hidden Power. And even if you give it higher stats, it only has a base 60 power move. So the only improvement I can think of is just completely forget this Pokemon ever existed. I think we'd all be better off that way. I also thought this was worth mentioning, a Specs modest Hidden Power Psychic from an Unown to a Kartana, which only has 59 HP and 31 special defense. Kartana is a very frail Pokemon on the special side, does a maximum 59%. That is a choice specs attack to a Kartana, doing that little. So in closing, yes, Unown is literally the worst Pokemon ever. You can literally only one relatively low base power move at a time, and you really can't take any hits, and you can't do any damage even with a choice specs. The fact that you only have one move of one type also means that you are walled by any Pokemon that resists or is immune to that type. For example, if you run Hidden Power Psychic, you pretty much get walled by any dark type. The only Pokemon that you can argue that are worse than Unown are some Pokemon that are NFEs, but the thing is with NFEs, at least they have access to multiple moves, and unlike Unown, NFEs can hold Eviolites and they evolve into better Pokemon because, again, NFEs are not really supposed to be good, they're supposed to be good once they reach their final forms. NFEs also have the ability to be used in Little Cup, which I guess is an advantage. Unown can't be used in Little Cup because it's technically a fully evolved Pokemon, I guess, it's not a baby. And now we get to the fun part, and that is the ratings. And to be honest, Unown gets a 0 in pretty much everything, and I'm going to explain why. So like I mentioned earlier with the Kartana calc, Unown does such little damage to Kartana that I think it's pretty obvious that Unown is going to get a 0 in attack. You have one base 60 power move and low special attack. That's it, you're getting a 0. For defense, again, you have low defense, you have really no recovery options to help with your defense like recover or synthesis, so this thing gets a 0. You're not taking any hits, you're not really doing any damage, so you get a 0 in the first two categories. For versatility, again, this Pokemon gets literally one move, so there really is no options here, so you get a 0 for versatility. For Movepool, obviously, this thing gets no moves. This thing literally gets one move, so you get a 0 for moves because there's literally no options here. And for overall viability, like I mentioned earlier, there's literally no reason to use Unown over any other Pokemon that has a base 60 power damage move or more that is stab, because at least they'll get another move to complement that. Unown gets literally one move, which I can't stress enough how horrible that is. I think this is the first and only Pokemon that's actually going to get 0s in all of these categories. I don't think any other Pokemon in the series has even gotten a 0 in any category. So in short, I'm really not sure why they made this Pokemon. You are better off using literally any other Pokemon that has a base power move of 60 or more, whether it's physical or special. Stay away from Unown. It is the reason why I stayed away from doing Unown for so long is because Unown is the worst Pokemon. Like this is it. We found it, guys. We found the worst Pokemon, and it is Unown. I will still be continuing the series, obviously, but we all know Unown is the worst. And that's Unown. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe and leave a like. Leave a comment down below letting me know what you think of Unown, as well as letting me know of what other Pokemon you want to see featured on this series in the future. Don't forget to check out the full playlist link in the description as well. Have a good rest of your day. I will see you guys next time, and bye-bye.